and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a June reading recap, and I will also be going over some books that I hope to read in July. So let's get into it. So the first book I read in June was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I gave this book 5 stars. I have had it on my TBR for a pretty long time, but I never got around to buying it or reading it at all. So I was super excited when I drew from a bowl last time and got this as one of my TBR picks for last month. If you've seen any of my other reading recap videos, you know that I like a mystery that keeps me guessing until the last possible second. Like, I really don't love being able to find out the mystery before it's revealed, and this book did exactly that. It kept me on my toes until the last possible minute. Admittedly, I'm not obsessed with the little love triangle thing they've got going on, but I can look past it because I know that this book specifically is kind of written more so with the young adult, like teenage mind in mind. So I'll excuse that because it's also like entertaining, but I also kind of wanted to throw my book across the room when I was reading it. But beside the point, it was a good book. I really enjoyed reading it, and I will definitely be continuing the rest of the series. The second book that I read this month was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I also gave this book 5 out of 5 stars because I just love Emily Henry as an author. She's absolutely amazing. I just love how different all of her books are, how they all have different plots and different types of characters, and they're set in different places, but they all are so well written that it almost makes it seem like she's been writing this specific type of book forever, and it's all she's ever known how to write. I just love that like all of her books are so different. It's so entertaining and so fun. I also really liked the female main character in this book because sometimes in romance novels, when the female main character is pretty headstrong or like a strong independent woman, she can be kind of annoying. But Emily Henry just really knows how to write a secure female character but still giving her room for growth, and I just absolutely loved that about this book specifically. Because even though the main character knew what she wanted to do with her life, she still struggled to actually come to that realization that she could do these things and be happy, and other people would be happy too. And I just love this book so much. I will definitely continue reading Emily Henry because duh. And the last book I read this month is The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars solely because I honestly thought it was going to be longer. Granted, it is a biography and not like a made-up story, so I guess if there's only so much to write about, then there's only going to be so much to the book. But I really would have liked more detailed bits in this book, I guess. I always grew up hearing that Britney Spears was like crazy or insane, but I never really knew why. I think the most that I knew was that one time that she almost dropped her baby because the paparazzi was swarming her, which she wrote about in this book. But getting to read her side of the story was really enlightening and very nice to just hear what she was going through. Maybe not nice, because what she was going through was really sad and traumatic, and she was heartbroken multiple times. So maybe nice isn't the right word, but it's nice to hear her side of the story, I guess. And like I was talking about earlier, it's just kind of sad that people in the early 2000s, even into like mid-20-teens, were calling her insane when all she wanted to do was like be with her family and make art that she loved instead of being forced to make art. But I think this book was really insightful, and I'm glad that I finally got around to reading it. So that is all the books that I read in June. I was admittedly kind of slow with some reading. I caught myself on my phone a lot more than I had been in the past couple of months. I am hoping to be able to read more next month because I am going on a vacation with my family and we are driving. So that means that I will have multiple hours to just sit in the back of a car and read. So that is exactly why I have a bit of a longer TBR for July as opposed to June. I have literally one more book. Like, it's not a big difference. And while I did kind of choose randomly my TBR for last month, I wanted to choose my TBR for this upcoming month just because now that it's summer, I wanted to read some summery books and like romance, whatever. So here are my choices. And these are in no specific order, by the way. I might say the first book in this list and then read it last. So yeah. The first book for my July TBR is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. The back reads, "You and me and 1 year. Don't let me down." Fern Brookbanks has wasted far too much of her adult life thinking about Will Baxter. She spent just 24 hours in her early 20s with the aggravatingly attractive and idealistic artist, a chance encounter that spiraled into a day-long adventure in the city. The timing was wrong, but their connection was undeniable. They shared every secret, every dream, and made a pact to meet again 1 year later. Fern showed up. Will didn't. At 32, Fern's life doesn't look at all how she once imagined it would. Instead of living in the city, Fern's back home, running her mother's lakeside resort, something she vowed never to do. The place is in disarray, her ex-boyfriend is the manager, and Fern doesn't know where to begin. She needs a plan, a lifeline. To her surprise, it comes in the form of Will, who arrives 9 years late, suitcase in tow, and an offer to help on his lips. Will may be the only person who understands what Fern's going through, but how can she possibly trust this expensive suit-wearing mirage who seems nothing like the young man she met all those years ago? Will is hiding something, and Fern's not sure she wants to know what it is. But 10 years ago, Will Baxter rescued Fern. Can she do the same for him now? So obviously I'm very intrigued in this. It's very romancy from the sound of it, and it's also very summery, obviously. But the main reason that I picked this book for my July TBR is because the vacation I'm going on with my family is to the lake. So I figured I would read this during that time just because it felt right. And also incredibly cheesy. And if there's one thing I'm gonna do, it's be incredibly cheesy. So, yeah. Next up, we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I had this book on my TBR a couple of months ago, but I never got to reading it because I got into a bit of a reading slump. But I am very hopeful for this month. The back reads, 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. That's all it will take to find their soulmate. When it comes to love, Emma is cursed. Every guy she dates finds his true love after they break up. But it turns out she's not the only one afflicted with this condition. His name is Justin, and his Reddit thread about being love's good luck charm has gone viral. Now the two have come up with an ingenious plan. If they date each other, their curses will cancel out and they'll go on to find their soulmate. Only Justin wasn't supposed to be so unbelievably cute and hilarious. But when Emma's toxic mother shows up and Justin has to assume guardianship of his 3 siblings, they're suddenly navigating a lot more than they expected, including catching real feelings. Has fate finally brought the perfect pair together? Or will their cure be way more hazardous than the curse itself? I've heard great things about this book, so I am very excited to read it. The next book for July is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. One of my coworkers has been begging me to read this book, so I finally decided to bite the bullet and put it on my TBR for this month. Sharpen your blade, harden your heart. Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous High Court of the Fairy. Am I saying that right? Anyway, 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, but many of the Fae despise humans. Especially Prince Carden, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. To win a place in the court, Jude must defy him and face the consequences. This book has been out for a very long time, but I just never got around to reading it because I used to not be the biggest fan of fantasy, but now that I've kind of dipped my toes into that genre, I am obsessed, so I'm very excited for this one. And the last book on my TBR for July is I Know What You Did Last Summer by Lewis Duncan. Some secrets just won't stay buried. They didn't mean it. They didn't mean to kill him. There was a party and it was an accident, but they had futures to protect. So Barry, Julie, Helen, and Ray swore one another to secrecy. But now, a year later, someone knows. Julie receives a disturbing anonymous threat. I know what you did last summer. The dark lie is unearthed, and before the four friends know it, they need to outsmart a killer, or they will be the next to die. This book has also been around for forever, and there's a movie based on it. I'm sure there's actually multiple movies based on it. But I am very excited for this because it kind of reminds me of the One of Us is Lying series, or at least the sound of it does. Maybe not exactly alike, but close enough that I'm super interested. And also, since it's a summer book, what a better time to start reading it than during summer! So these are all the books that I hope to read in July. And again, I probably won't read them in any specific order that I listed out earlier, but I really do hope that I get to read all 4 of them this month because they're all super interesting to me. So we'll see. But that is all I have for today's video. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!